I should make this video and then pause to contemplate how it is that people who are whistleblowers and the secret space program, uh, MK Ultra, people with different proofs or no proof. A lot of them have no proof, and they're just not telling the truth either. And then maybe that's how they're able to get in the public eye and be whistleblowers and tell their stories. And their stories are usually very simple. Like if you think of a whistleblower or someone who's prominent in the New Age, Space Force, pole shift, all of that. And you think of people who are prominent in the movement, if you can think of any, I'm sure you can. And I'm not going to do it for an example for you because I'll sound like I'm downplaying people when maybe that's not maybe it's better that you think about what they're known for. And like, take somebody's name who is prominent in the industries, and write down their name, and then write down what you've learned from them. They've been active, some of these guys, a decade, some of them 12 years. And I understand that there's complications as far as technology as well, so I'm not trying to step on anyone or kick them in the face. What I am trying to make the example of is if you Google Jonathan George, Dan Brown, you'll find a link to what was an interview of mine with someone who got bribed or threatened and took the interview down. And in the place of that was put Thoth and Isis, because I am the reincarnation of Thoth. For all intents and purposes, it's more important for a lot of you guys that I was Tesla. Past lives are often something difficult to wrap your head around or to prove. But what I find is that people generally don't lie to me. They don't make claims that they couldn't back up. They don't make many claims at all. People just don't lie to me. And they know I'll tell them the truth. So that's, if anything is going to be what I'd like my claim to fame to be, it would be my honesty. And you can go ahead and Google this to see. It's backwards, isn't it? JONATHAN space George, GEORGE, comma, DAN space BROWN. And that's on a website I don't really recommend for anything. Stillness in the Storm. That interview is from 2013. And if I'd known it was going to get pulled or censored, I would have made a recording of it for myself, but it's okay. There's, darkness always likes to chip at the light, and I provide a lot of proof. So what I was proving there was that I had taught Dan Brown, and that the lost symbol was initially based on myself, as I taught Dan the information about Jesus and Mary that was in and is in the Da Vinci Code. Alright, so this video is by Sam Muggsy, M-U-G-Z-Z-I.
And he's waiting for we the people to pick up the ball and supply these needs. And this is where all of you guys come into, and this is so important because we have our ET contacts. Ken is one. We have our white hats, which is in the military. We have...
I'll say that I am Space Force. The day that the Navy graduated from the Naval Academy is the day that I graduated from basic training of Space Force, which was strange. I am extraterrestrial. That's a very long story. I made this graph here, which is going to be backwards for you, but at least you can replicate it based on my explanation. So at the top is my name, Jonathan George, and I go by the name Johnny Ameru-Ryen / Tesla. On my dad's side, my grandfather is John George. On my mom's side was Don Ryan. George H.W. Bush and John George Trump were there soon after Tesla died. I don't believe he died, but that's what they say. He died, yes? So my grandfather, Don Ryan, had a boat next to George H.W. Bush in Kennebunkport. So John George is my grandfather. Don Ryan, my grandfather, an inventor who was a secretary in the military, and then in the 80s had a boat next to George H.W. Bush. My grandmother was good friends with his wife. What was her name? Nancy? No, that's Reagan. Barbara. And yes, I'm aware of the rumors that Barbara Bush was really Crowley. I can't confirm or deny. I do not know. Would I be surprised? No. What about where'd the kids come from? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like Obama didn't even have any children with his boyfriend Michael. So how can we wonder, where George Bush and Crowley's kids came from if they had children together? So anyway, so the connection from me to Tesla is definitely on one side of my family and possibly on the other. That's up for you to decide or do your own research, because I can't find any information about myself, let alone my grandfather, okay? So Donryan is my grandfather, who had a boat next to G.H.W. Bush. John George Trump, my grandfather is John George. I would have been John George the third, but they made me Jonathan instead of John, so I wouldn't be the third. George the third. John George the third. So I'm Jonathan, or John with no H, just Jon. So that brings us through one, if not both sides of my family, to Tesla. And he lived in room number 3327 for a reason. I did a video on MK Ultra, which explains very well all of this material as far as and it's not just numerology, it's excellent information, if I do say so myself. I made the video. And my birthday, 9/27, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 to the third is 27. I may have been in a fight club where I had to fight to the death with other children when I was under the age of 10. It's possible. some bad stuff happened. On the other side of my family, that's the maternal side. My maternal side of my family is a mess. Just saying, it is. So that's how I'm connected to Tesla, and how I'm the reincarnation of other, other names. Like Thoth is an older name. So we'll stick with what's relevant to this video as much as possible. But as far as my Space Force activity, it's true that if you fight monsters, you will become a monster eventually. I fought monsters. I became a monster, and then fortunately the goddess sent Lady Somerset Belanoff, my wife, to tame me, and she's been taming me since a long time, but since early 2018, essentially. 2017 U1 2017 U1 is the name of the UFO, the first interstellar visitor we had on Earth. It's also the Nimitz UFO, which they were both the same thing. It was at my house on October 20th, 2017. I have photos of that. And the 21st, October 21st, 2017, there was another UFO. And then on the 22nd, at 3 a.m., I went to bed and was abducted and was bitten. I went to the emergency room, and they said it was a bite from the shadow world. This is what the emergency room said, and they told me a story about someone who, wherever they went, they'd already been there a minute earlier. Some lady, she lost her job for always being there, and there were two of her, and she didn't know it. So she'd walk by, and then she'd walk by again, and people would say, "We just saw you," and she's like, "No." So the nurse told me that story, and then when I saw the doctor, he explained that. And that's really when things got weird as far as the cue of everything. Everything having double meanings, everything being open-ended, Because I didn't want to go there and say, I was abducted by aliens or something. Because I didn't know. I mean, they didn't announce that 2017 U1 had happened until a week later. It wasn't announced publicly until the 26th, so I couldn't have known. But October 23rd, while I was in the emergency room, that's when the Nimitz UFO footage was leaked to the public. I think it was not leaked by humans. But the bite that I received in my stomach felt like being stabbed under my ribs 6 times until I was dead. It was really bad. It was very bad. It was quite an ordeal. So my medical records do match that date, along with that's the first time